Hey y'all. So recently, I've had a few people talking to me asking about productivity and how to stay productive. And, it's come up a bit since I've started making these videos on YouTube and being more consistent with it. I've seen a lot of people they say, how do you stay consistent? How do you not get burnout? That sort of thing. And I feel like it's a fair question. And I've kind of developed a bit of a system for me, at least, that's worked. And I thought I'd share it on here. So, for me, whenever I'm trying to start something new or change a habit, what I try and do is find the lowest barrier of entry. So whether that's, running, right? A really good example for this is whenever I wanted to get back in the running and really like dial in my training, it had been a few months since I had been doing it. And so I was like, I don't know how I'm going to quickly get back to where I want to be. But that's the thing. You don't have to quickly get anywhere. You just have to get there. And so what I found was what's the lowest barrier of entry? What's the easiest possible thing I can do to figure out how to get back in the running? And for me, that was running a mile, right? I mean, if you're of decent physical fitness, most of us can at the very least walk a mile, right? And so what I did, I'd put on my running shoes, I'd put on, my running clothes, everything, all the gear I had, go to my local park, and I would run slash walk a mile. I could do more than that if I wanted to, but I made myself do the lowest barrier of entry, the easiest possible thing I could do while still achieving the goals I wanted, and that was running a mile. So I did that 3 days a week for a week and saw zero improvement, right? That's not the point. The point is to start establishing the habit. Then I upped it to a mile and a half that next week. Again, it's a mile and a half. If you're a runner, that's not a huge distance unless you're a sprinting runner. But anyway, that's not a huge distance. And I had done a mile the first week, so it wasn't really that big of a jump. Did that 3 days a week, did that at the same time as well. And again, didn't really feel like I was getting much of a workout in, but a mile and a half is more than a mile. It's taking me about 15 minutes, and it was fine. Fast forward to a couple of weeks later, and I'm at 4 miles 3 times a week. Well, now I'm starting to get a bit of a workout, and I'm starting to see some amount of improvement as I'm going along. And it's because I very slowly but consistently established a habit, built a system in order for me to know I'm doing it at this time and I'm doing this amount, and slowly started seeing a compounding result as I ran more and more. And it sounds so simple, just make it easy, but so many of us when we're trying to achieve something or get like higher goals, well, we go out and we try really hard, but if you're doing it the wrong way or you're trying, maybe even too hard, you're not going to get it done. No one's born a marathon runner. You have to build up to that. And that's what I did. This training program that I'm telling you right now, where I slowly added on miles, eventually I got to the point where I was running 8 miles 3 times a week. I added one long run into it, and that was more than enough to do a marathon. Now, it wasn't fast by any means, but that wasn't the point. I just wanted to get one done. And so if you have a goal, make it easy on yourself. Another example for this is this YouTube channel, right? The main reason I'm doing this YouTube channel is I need a creative outlet, something for me to go post, talk to people, and have a hobby. Secondly, I want to learn how to do video editing. This is not the only channel I plan on having, and while the editing on this is rather limited, my knowledge is insanely limited. So trying to learn has been a really fun and interesting part of this. But if I had, stepped out and said, "Oh, I want to make a feature-length film right off the bat, or I'm going to teach myself how to do all this editing," well, not only would I not have figured out how to do the editing, but the stuff I would have been doing wouldn't have been reviewed along the way. There would have been no time for me to correct a wrong course of action, and the end product would have been terrible for it. I mean, we all know that. If you've never made a film before and you go out and you try to, for the most part, you're not going to do very well. And so instead, I lowered the barrier of entry. What's an easier thing for me to do where I can still learn a little bit of editing? I can still learn, sound grading, working on thumbnails, that sort of thing. But I don't have to, invest that much time or energy into it so that if the product is terrible, it ends up killing me, right? And so for me, that was this channel. These videos take me, not a horribly long amount of time to make, but they're incredibly satisfying to finish. And I have fun with them. I'm learning, I'm getting better. I recently switched over to using Photoshop and Premiere Pro, and that has been a learning curve of itself, but I have something to test it on. And again, that's the thing. You don't need to be perfect right off the bat. You just need to get started. That's the number one hardest thing. And that's the thing that holds most people back, is just a refusal to be bad. I'm sorry to say, but most of you and me too suck at most things. There's just no way we couldn't. If we were good at everything, well, I can promise you, if I was good at everything, I would not be sitting here playing Minecraft right now. I'd be doing something else. It's a difference of choosing what you want to be good at and investing the time and effort and energy into getting good at that thing. It's going to take time, and expecting yourself to be perfect right off the bat isn't the way you should do it. So, to recap, figure out what your goals are. For me, that was running a marathon. Figure out, okay, what's a time span? When do I need to get there? And then set a system with starting off with the lowest barrier of entry so that you can do it. This can apply to so much. If it's school, right? Obviously, that feels a bit harder because there are strict deadlines that you can't control. But if you hate studying and you've not studied an entire semester, okay, well, at the start of the next semester, say, I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day sitting in front of my computer writing notes. 10 minutes is not that bad. Set a time. I'm going to do 10 minutes a day starting at 9 p.m. every single day, where I'm going to write 10 minutes worth of notes. And when I'm done, I'll be done. I don't have to do any more. Do that for a few weeks, and I promise you will get so much more done than if you hadn't done it. And then you can expand it out. Okay, well, what if I do 3 days a week, but I write 25 minutes worth of notes 3 days a week? Okay, well, guess what? You've just expanded the amount of time you're spending on this by a huge amount. I mean, we all expect success to happen quickly and for there to not be failure along the way, but the fear of failure is the number one thing holding people back. You're going to fail. That's fine. That's not the issue. It's just what you do afterwards. Do you take that failure and learn, or do you hide from it and decide I'm not doing it anymore? There are videos on this channel that I posted and got 0 views on. And yeah, it sucked, but it made me learn. I learned, okay, that's not what's going to work. I need to do something else. Now, those videos did end up getting privated because I don't really want people seeing them. They were not good videos, but it allowed me to learn and figure out, okay, I did this wrong. Let's adjust for the next video. It's a learning process, and allowing yourself to learn and actually engage with what you're doing is the only way you're going to get better at it. And the fear of failure is just holding you back. I promise there are so many things so many people can do. Currently I work at a running store, and the number one biggest thing that I see when people come in is, oh, but I'm not a runner. I can't do this. There's no way I could do this. And for the most part, that's not true. There are obviously medical conditions that will stop you from running. But if you want to go out and you want to run a mile, I have seen people in terrible situations and terrible health go out and run races faster than I have. It's really just about consistency and persistence and the ability to say, well, I failed, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to try again. That's the number one thing that's going to separate people who actually want to get something done and who just want to do something a few times and say, oh, well, I tried, and complain about it. That's a biggest gripe of mine, is when people go out and they try something and it doesn't work and they go, oh, well, then this is just rigged. No, you just failed, and that's okay. You can fail, but just try again. Just get better. If everybody who ever, I doubt, and this is a big example, I know, but I bet if you go watch Steven Spielberg's first film, it is nothing compared to his last. And by that, I'm talking his first films, the ones that he wasn't even letting people see, things that he was making back in college or whatever. It's just learning how to be okay with failure. And if you can do that, you'll achieve anything you want to. Thank you guys for watching. I've really been enjoying the work I've been doing on this channel, and the amount of support I've been getting. It's really meant a lot to me. So if you've stuck around this long, feel free to subscribe. There will be more videos on this channel. I'm posting twice a week. And if we can hit 500 subscribers before, my goal right now is around September, then my plan is to actually start streaming as well. So thank you guys.